Hi, Bob. Thanks for taking the time to interview with me today.
Hi, Emily. Pleasure to be here.
So I know you did an interview for the Gemini Capital YouTube channel a couple months back. So I hope any of our new viewers can tune in there first to get a little bit of more background context on kind of your background and your work, and then as well as Pinnacle. But I kind of just want to jump in right into kind of like the news release that you released the other day. So recently, Pinnacle announced that it had signed an LOI with the option to acquire a high grade project in the Sierra Madre trend of Mexico. So I was hoping you could maybe share some more highlights from that announcement.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just put this out on Monday. Very exciting development for the company. And for me personally, to get back to Mexico, where I've been working for on and off for the last 30 years or so. But for those viewers not familiar with the process, an LOI is a letter of intent. And essentially what that does is it's just a way of formalizing an agreement on the actual terms of the acquisition and gives us a period of time, in this case, 3 months, where we would have exclusivity on this project to complete our due diligence, to write a compliant, a 43101 technical report and prepare the definitive agreements and do a financing, those kinds of things, and all of which needs stock exchange approval. So as soon as we can get all these things done, that's not to say that it'll take 3 months, but we'd like to get them done as quickly as we can, obviously. So during that time, the stock will be halted, and we will be doing the financing during that period. But coming back to the deal, it's the project is in the Sierra Madre trend, as you mentioned, which is one of the most prolific gold silver trends in the world, I think, and lots of world class mines. And in fact, we're surrounded by four operating mines within a 35-kilometer radius. We have two within 15 kilometers, one of which I'm very familiar with because it was the first mine that we acquired in Great Panther to launch that company in 2004. And so it's an area that I know very well. And another one to the south is the 4,000 ton per day Cienega mine owned by Fresnillo, which is one of the largest underground gold silver mines in Mexico. So it's a terrific area. And the deal, gives us access to a project that is a little over 1,000 hectares in size, so it's quite large, and very high grades, a little over 10 grams per ton gold equivalent, based on past work that was done there. And it was in production in the past, 1989, 1990, but it's never been explored due to modern methods or by modern methods. So it's a very exciting development for us.
Yeah, very cool. So I know you covered a little bit about it already, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the El Potrero project and why you think it's so important for Pinnacle.
Yeah, so I mean, more specifically, the project, as I mentioned, was in production about 35 years ago, and it's been in private hands for about 40 years. So it's single owner. And when it was in production, he had built a 100 ton per day processing plant on site. Now, after 35 years, obviously that needs a little bit of refurbishing and rebuilding and so on, but the basic infrastructure is there. So, this isn't a hugely expensive deal that we're talking about, maybe $2 to $3 million. And it already has road access, power line within 4 kilometers. And so it's the sort of thing that we want to get back up and running, as quickly as we can. And that'll all be subject to permitting, of course. But, we think that we're going to be working towards trying to get this done within about a 2 to 3 year period. Now, at that time, there were several old mines that were being worked, and they're just sort of adits or tunnels straight into the side of the hill. And the old timers just kind of worked it worked it from there. And so we'll be going back in, rehabilitating the old underground workings, extensive sampling to get a better sense of what's there, putting together a new mine plan. And at the same time, we can have diamond drills going on the outside of the mine and trying to expand the known mineralization and building up a resource. Now, as we move all of this forward, as we get to production, once we get to that point, we will actually be granted a 50% interest in the property. And so from that point going forward, we'll share the proceeds of production according to our respective interests in the property. And with additional cash payments over the next several years, all of which, again, should be able to be paid out of cash flow, we will increase our interest from 50, then to 70, to 90, and ultimately to 100% in the project. So it's a great way to develop the project out of cash flow instead of always coming back to the markets, which often can be volatile and depressed for the junior sector, as we've seen in recent years. So by doing it this way, it's a great way to grow the company, especially at a time of high metal prices. So we're really excited about this opportunity. It's this is a business model that I'm very familiar with, because it's basically what we did with Great Panther. And, we were able to grow that company to a $600 million market cap with 3 operating mines in Mexico. We want to try and do something similar again. And we think this is a great project to start that with.
Yeah, that sounds all really great. And it's great to hear that there's already existing infrastructure there as well. I'm kind of curious to know maybe your perspective on what some catalysts that we could expect in the coming months as a result of this news release, and then why should potential investors consider investing in Pinnacle right now?
Well, in terms of catalysts, there's going to be a lot going on, through this LOI period, the due diligence period. We were in there sampling just a couple of weeks ago, so we're waiting for those results to come back. There'll be the 43-101 geological report. And then the definitive agreement itself, of course, all of which needs exchange approval. So that'll all be happening over the course of the next couple of months. And at the same time, we'll be financing as well. And then going forward into New Year, we'll be getting in there to do a much more thorough underground sampling program. So, of course, there'll be news out on that, and cleaning up the site, doing an assessment of the plant, getting first applications in for permitting, that sort of thing. So there'll be lots going on. And then through towards the end of the summer, probably into Q3, we'll be looking at hopefully starting up a drill program down there on El Pachorro as well. And in the spring, summer, I'm going to be looking at potentially going back in to drill in Ontario at our Red Lake projects up there also. So there's potential for a lot of news flow coming through the next 6 to 8 months, a year. So excited about that. And in terms of investment potential, the stock is halted at the moment. So it's not possible to invest directly at this time. That halt will come off once we get exchange approval for the deal. So that's one of the reasons we want to try and get all of this completed as quickly as possible. But in the interim, we will be doing a financing, as I mentioned, and the details of that are in the news release. But it is open to accredited investors, and if there is anyone out there who falls under that category, then and wishes to participate, then I would just ask them to contact me or the company directly, and we can make that work.
Yeah, it's great to hear more about what you have in the works and in the upcoming months. Thank you again for taking the time to speak with me, and congrats again on the big news.
Thanks very much, Emily. Pleasure.
Thank you.